So I thought I'd do a video that I've never done before, and that is reacting to the results at the BRIT Awards 2020. You guys know on this channel I always do the Grammys every year. I talk about the results, I do a prediction video as well and how I feel about the nominations, and then when the actual award show happens, you know, I talk about what I think should have happened or what I think could have happened, all that kind of stuff. I thought, why not do one for the Brits? I am British, why not do it, I guess? I don't know if this is considered a prestigious award, to be honest. I mean, it's certainly bigger than the Mercury Prize, even though your average music nerd might treat the Mercury Prize with more like elite, yes, this is a good award, despite the fact that really it's not that popular in comparison to what the Brits tends to get in terms of viewership and how people treat it. But I've never treated the Brits with anything more than a shrug. Generally, I just kind of go, oh, okay. I'm sure Mumford & Sons won a lot of awards years ago, and it's like, looking back now, it's a bit embarrassing that that happened. We did see Black Star win though, Album of the Year for David Bowie, that's pretty cool. Stormzy won for his debut album a few years ago. Adele's won plenty of Album of the Years. Last year, the 1975 won it for A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships, or whatever that album was called. It's just your general popular British artists that get nominated each year, and there are never really any surprises. Acts like Little Mix win often. Calvin Harris, I'm sure next year Dua Lipa will be on many of the awards because her album's coming out very soon, and I'm sure that will be a big factor into the Brits' decisions for 2021. And speaking of Dua Lipa, I guess the biggest controversy to bring up for 2020 was the fact that there were no female artists in the Best Album category, and that was a bit of an issue for a lot of people. It was certainly blown a little bit out of proportion though, because I think generally your average person typically doesn't care. Like I say, I don't know how prestigious this award is anyway for artists in the UK, so do people generally care if there's like, you know, a gender gap or whatever? I don't know. It was certainly a claim to be made in a sense though. I mean, you could have had Charlie XCX's album there. I didn't particularly like it, but you could have put it there and it would have maybe made a bit of sense. But then of course FK Twigs, she really should have been there. That album deserved at least a mention in the Album of the Year category, even if it wasn't popular. And that brings me on to the main point, is that the Brit Awards are worse than the Grammys when it comes to popularity. This is a popular artist contest. No matter which way you look at it, it's the popular album, the popular song, the popular artist winning every time, every year. Look at every category. It's always the same, and Dave winning this year isn't really that surprising, although I suppose if I were to predict, I probably would have said Lewis Capaldi or Stormzy, to be honest. But even still, Dave winning is not really that surprising. But before you even look into like any gender issues that you may think are a problem when it comes to these award shows, or particularly the Brits, first and foremost, the issue at hand is popularity. Like, come on, the way radio stations in the UK curate their playlists is so poor. Like, they just don't put any emphasis on indie music at all. I've been hearing a lot of Radio 1 recently because of my commutes to and from my university placement. I don't typically listen to Radio 1, but like, you will struggle to hear anything that isn't in the charts on the radio. They rarely shine a light on lesser known artists. It's just like, of course, there's never going to be anyone like FK Twigs winning Album of the Year, not because she's a female, but just for the simple, pure reason that she just doesn't have enough pull. She doesn't have enough cred, I guess, from music fans and lovers. She has to have a popular song before they even think about it, which is fine. It may make me sound like a hipster. If you've never watched my videos before, maybe you're thinking right now, God, this guy sounds like such a pretentious hipster douche. But I don't care what you think, because I at least pay attention to music, and I at least think that there's just a major problem when it comes to this type of stuff. The popular album isn't the best album. That's just a simple statement that I don't think the Brit Awards will ever understand. Someone You Loved winning Song of the Year, I personally think it's a terrible song. That's just my opinion. Everyone has their opinions, of course, but it doesn't matter if it's good or not. It's one of the biggest songs of last year, so it was only going to win that award. It was only going to Stormzy in the male artist category. Look, fair enough. He has some pretty good songs. He's riding a lot of hype at the moment off of his album. He's certainly an outspoken figure, even if I think a lot of the things he says are complete utter bullshit. But again, that's only my opinion. I just don't think his music is that strong, really. They're really trying to push Mabel on us at the moment. I think she's going to be an artist that fades away pretty quickly in a few years. But then again, I did think that about Anne-Marie, and I'm not entirely sure if that quite happened with her, but we'll see, because I think Anne-Marie has an album on the way soon, or fairly soon, so we'll see how that does. But that's another artist, again, who I just think brings nothing to the table, adds nothing interesting to her songs, but she's popular, so the Brits tend to like her. I'm sure she'll be getting nominated next year. I guess there's not much else to say, yeah. So Foals winning, pretty cool, I suppose. They're pretty much past their prime and their peak, I think, now, but they're still a fairly tolerable band. They're alright. Their debut, though, is fucking great. I'll never not love that album. I think their debut is so bloody good. But yeah, their previous output hasn't been particularly very good. I haven't mentioned this already, but Michael Kiwanuka getting a few nominations and a bit of recognition was cool to see. Actually, was really happy to see him in the Album of the Year field. He obviously wasn't going to win it, but it was really cool to see a name like his in that list. Tyler, the Creator, winning Best International Male was kind of ironic, because I still think he's banned from the UK. I think he was. When Theresa May was Prime Minister, that was a thing that happened for some reason. But yeah, I think he may still be banned to enter this country, and he won a Brit Award, which is the highest level of irony I think I've heard in quite some time. So yeah, quite the ramble from me. Let me know what you think in the comments. Sorry for my voice as well, I've got a bit of a cold once again, so I may sound stuffy and a bit weird. But hopefully you enjoyed what I had to say. Tell me what you think in the comments, if you agree, disagree. Subscribe if you haven't already. Goodbye, and bye.